Good morning. We woke up at 5 because they told us that we could get into the parks at 6 a.m. so we could get our reservation, because everybody's reservation you can get in line for 2 hours early. So we are walking. There is nobody around, and evidently there's going to be a line that we can get into. So tell you about it soon. Bye.
Now, when we arrived outside Disneyland gates, they had the special ticket entry lanes that we could get into, and there were quite a few, and we probably only had about 20 people in front of us. It was a smaller crowd than normally when you enter Disneyland Park on a regular day, so we were excited about that. We arrived at about 5:45, 5:50-ish, and it wasn't bad. It was great people watching while we were waiting in line. There were quite a few people dressed up and costumes, which I was kind of surprised to see. Once we got in, they let us in, I want to say about 5. They let us in at about 6 o'clock and then escorted us down Main Street, USA. We just had to follow everyone over to Launch Bay. And it wasn't too crowded. People were being respectful at this point in time. And once they get you into Launch Bay, we got into the building and had less than a 5-minute wait in line to get our wristbands. They did want everybody to, they had said everyone needed their ID. In our case, only the purchaser, the reservation maker, needed their ID and the code, the QR code that was sent out. And then we each got a wristband. There's merchandise upstairs. We had gone the day before to check everything out, so we kind of knew what to expect, and we had checked out the merchandise upstairs ahead of time, so we knew what there was. We didn't go up there afterwards. Now, once we exited Launch Bay, here we are going to our little podium. They have it set up like the DVC nights, where there's a bunch of little kiosks. They ask you for your ID. They put the wristband on you. They put our wristbands on a little tight. I'm assuming they don't want anybody to swap them over. But they have you wait by the Galactic Grill and Finding Nemo ride. There's plenty of time because they don't move you over to Galaxy's Edge until about 10 minutes before the time. At least that's the way it was for us. So we moved maybe 10 feet at 7 a.m. and got all excited, and then nothing happened. So if you want to purchase food at Galactic Grill, you have plenty of time. Then once we got over to Galaxy's Edge, they had an escort. So you can see they have an escort that's going to take us on over to Oga's Cantina, because that was where we wanted to go. And it was quite the rush. There was much more pushing and people trying to get ahead. Once we left Galactic Grill, that pushing and stampede kind of happened. I lost my shoe and I quickly had to retrieve it before I was swept up in the crowd. But and then the pushing to Oga's Cantina was a little rough, but they finally got us into a single file line. And it was fine, and we were able to get into Oga's Cantina within the first 15 minutes of our entrance into Galaxy's Edge. So that was really nice. Right before you get into Oga's Cantina, they give you a little card. Everyone in your party needs to have one. At least that's what was happening when we got there. Some parties sent one representative, and then their party would join them once they got to the front. So there were some conflicting stories on what was supposed to happen once you got in there. But we each got a card, and then we were brought in. Oga's Cantina only allows you to have 2 alcoholic beverages per person, or per adult, I should say, and you can't take anything out with you. So if you take a look at the menu ahead of time, it'll better prepare you when you're in there, because everything is overwhelming.
Here, let me just turn this off. It's not turning off! Did not need to do that. Hang on, everyone. I think I found it. I'll just hit this right here, and it should take care of it. Light speed,
we left Oga's Cantina, the Smuggler's Run ride was 25-minute wait, which was perfect because it allowed us to see everything in line. We were able to scan some things. We were able to take a look at everything as we went. It was the perfect wait time for the first ride because we didn't miss anything on the way. The second and third times we rode it, we had, it said 15 minutes, but it was probably more like 10, if that. So I would definitely wait to get in line for that ride until later. Getting food was super easy after we got off the ride. We both got Ronto wraps, one regular and one morning wrap, and we loved them both. Now, we did not try to do Savi's workshop. It seemed that Savi's workshop to build your lightsaber was sold out within 40 minutes. We had already made the decision ahead of time to go ahead for Oga's Cantina and then the Millennium Falcon. We also did not build a droid. We were able to tour every shop that was there and play some of the interactive games. Now, if you are going to play the games, you need to make sure that you bring an extra phone charger or two because it does suck your battery really fast. And with all the photos and video you'll be taking, your battery is going to run down. And we did not see any fuel rod stations anywhere. We really enjoyed the 8 a.m. entry because it allowed us to do everything, see all the characters, view all the shops, and try a bunch of the food. We only overlapped with one other reservation, which made it really nice because it gave us enough time to explore with just our core group in the morning. In the afternoon, it's a lot harder because you're overlapping with 2 other reservations, leaving only 2 hours in between. And if people stay longer than they're supposed to, which they weren't really checking and stopping anyone or asking anyone to leave, so it's really easy to stay longer than you are supposed to, especially when you're trying to cram one last thing in or do one other thing before you go. So the morning entry is really the way to go if you have that reservation. It's really nice because you have the most amount of time with just your core reservation group. That is it for our overview of our experience with Galaxy's Edge. We went on Friday, June 7th, and had a great time. We never felt rushed, except for that first movement from Galactic Grill in Tomorrowland all the way over to Galaxy's Edge, and then the rush to Oga's Cantina. That was the only time we felt rushed. All the rest of our time in there in the morning felt nice and relaxed. We were able to do everything we wanted to do, and we really had a great time. Be sure you know what your priorities are when you go. Know what to expect ahead of time. Bring your chargers, and just enjoy yourself. It's really beautiful in there.